This evening.
Let's do it.
Everyone ready? All right. Let's go ahead and call the Thursday, October 5th, 2023 edition of the Property Committee into session for our roll this evening. Thank you very much, Chair Metzger, for joining us. This is going to make a quorum with also members Byrne and Bell present, missing members Bloomfield, Tompkins, and Soldner this evening. Which brings us along to item number 2 on our agenda this evening. This is the consent agenda. The consent agenda, we have the approval of our minutes from the September 7th, 2023 regular meeting, in addition to the recommendation of the approval of bills and transfers, which is in the total of $119,110.37. Might I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? We have a motion from member Byrne, and I see a second by member Bell. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? Thank you very much. Let's carry on to item number 3 on the agenda. Administrator Taylor, do we have any members of the public?
We've had no requests to speak this evening.
All right, we shall carry on to item number 4 with departmental matters. So departmental matters, we have our facilities management team, and then Administrator Taylor, I'd like to defer to you to give us an introduction this evening.
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce Scott Fogler and ask him to come up to the table for us this evening. So it is with great sadness that I let you know that Joe Gaither was in a car accident. And he is going to be okay, but he is out for a few weeks, and so he was not able to be with us, so please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And thankfully, he has created a great support team, and Scott has offered to stand in and to assist as we go through not only tonight's action items, but also to represent him for our budget discussion. So we expect to have Joe back in the next week or 2.
Excellent. Glad news that we expect to have him back soon, but certainly if Mr. Gaither is tuning in tonight or any time in the future, sending him our well wishes, lots of love for a speedy recovery. He's certainly missed tonight, but in his stead, Mr. Fogler, thank you very much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So with this evening's agenda kicking off 4A1, we have our first item to be presented for action. So 4A1A, our request approval of agreement with PIPCO Companies Ltd. to replace the boilers in 3 buildings. Might I have a nomination to put this one on the floor for discussion?
So motion.
I see we have a motion from member Byrne. Might I have a second? A second from member Bell. Thank you very much. And then Mr. Fogler, we go to you for anything that you'd like to share on this item.
Okay, we submitted an RFP for boiler replacement in 3 county buildings, the health department, juvenile detention, and government center. It actually equivalates 22 boilers that will be brought down to 6 total, which will greatly help us with maintenance and efficiency there. Our most responsive bidder for this project was PIPCO Companies, and that's who we would like to proceed with for the full 3 building job. We did do it as one lump job, just to keep the same contractor and keep everything straight and organized, and for serviceability afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions about it?
So you have a question? Absolutely,
Of
please.
course.
So you're moving from, you said 22 to 6, so
Yes.
will that free up space in buildings then?
In the mechanical rooms, it will, yes. Actually, in the government center, it will, there's 12 what are called reheat boilers that will all be removed and taken out and recycled. So it'll give us a lot more space. It's very tight in there right now.
Do you anticipate a lot more energy efficiency from the new boilers?
Very much so. They're gonna be condensing boilers. They'll be 90 plus. We don't have exact specs yet and brand, but that is the way it was designed. Those were 1970s units, so they can only guess at how efficient they are, but I wouldn't guess more than 50-60%. So we'll definitely have a big gain there. Less units that are high efficient and without sacrificing any of the comforts.
how are you getting rid of the boilers and is there any asbestos in it? So
There is not, we've had them checked, they all were clear. The company Pipco is planning on disposing of them, we have asked that they recycle them. We're still working through the details on what they will do with them.
we can go for it knowing that they possibly wanna just put it in a landfill? I mean, how do we have control over the disposal? Is that the agreement that they,
It says it recommends that we recycle, we're asking them to recycle, but it does not give them directive to.
So we can
Is
give
that-
them directive too.
Yeah, is that something that we would be able to perhaps amend the contract before going forward?
You have any thoughts on that, Tony?
Yeah, I would anticipate these being recycled. Them being from late 70s, early 80s era, they're 40-plus-year-old. The materials in that are going to be steel or iron, and that's highly desirable. I fully anticipate them being recycled. That is what the expectation was, and when we had our walkthrough with the contractors, that was something that was shared from that perspective.
okay, I appreciate that.
Certainly.
Yes, I think we should have some assurance that they're gonna do what they said they're gonna do.
We definitely will follow up and ask any questions to get clarity on that particular piece. But we do anticipate them being recycled.
Yeah, that's a lot of metal.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's profitable for them based on what the materials are.
Okay.
So is membership of the committee comfortable with moving forward as is? And then just hearing some follow-up from administration as we go forward, or
That's fine.
additional comments or questions? Personally excited to hear that recycling has been a part of the conversation on there, and would you all be able to continually supply us with any additional information on the energy savings as we go through and actually get the contract for particular boilers or as they start to get installed, just hearing a little bit more about their energy efficiency?
Not a problem.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Alright.
Final questions?
All in favor?
All right. All in. Alrighty, so all those in favor of passing number 4A1A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, the motion passes. And that brings us along to item number 4A 1B. This is the request approval of a bid for exterior work from Autobomb Company Incorporated. I understand we have some additional follow-up on this one to share this evening. So Mr. Fogler, I'll kick it over to you, and then I think Administrator Taylor might have something else to say. Oh, great call. Might I have a motion to put this one on the floor for conversation? Motion from Member Byrne. We have a second from Member Bell.
We also released an RFP for exterior work on the Law and Justice Center. I'm sure anyone that's seen it, it needs some work. It's a full upgrade of the exterior. We're gonna be painting the steel panels, removing the rust, painting those, cleaning the limestone, repairing the limestone, tuck pointing the brick, and sealing any place that it needs it. So, most responsive bidder for this job was Autobomb, and we'd like to proceed with them. They've done past work for us and done a very good job.
This is certainly something that, for those who have been on the property tour the last couple of years, this has been one of the things that we've seen pop up along the way. So exciting to see that it's coming to fruition. And then Administrator Taylor, I think you have an update for us on
Yes.
the contract.
So before you take a vote, I would like to point out that there was a last minute concern over an indemnity clause in this contract. And with permission of this committee, we would ask that you consider tabling this until stand up. We think that small change in the contract will be resolved by next week, and we can present those amendments to you. It should just be with that one condition of the contract. Does not change the pricing, does not change the scope of work, would only change a clause that would be more beneficial to the county in the language that we would include in our indemnification. So I present that
I
to you
have
as a
a
consideration.
friendly amendment to that motion, if that would be okay with Member Byrne. That we table this until stand up on October 12th. Are you
Yes, that's
good with that?
amend the motion as described.
Alrighty, so we'll be tabling until stand up on 10/12. Do we need to take a vote on the motion to table? Alright, so all of those in favor of the tabled motion, or the motion tabled until stand up on 10/12, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you very much for the additional information on the adjustment on the clause. And then Mr. Fogler, over to you for item 4A, 2A for the monthly report.
Okay, we start with the government center. We got that smoke test done. There has been an odor in this building and we found some dry drain traps that we were not aware of and a cracked sewer line. This is photographs of where that line is and kind of just giving an example of how they inject that smoke into the system. Repairs are going to happen next week on the cast iron pipe. And we've already taken care of the drains, so we believe the smell will no longer be with us.
Thank you.
The Law and Justice Center, it was just quarterly inspections for our fire alarm. We had no deficiencies reported, so that went really well. The suppression systems have been checked, and we replaced an air handler motor. We just showed that on there. We were able to do that internally with the maintenance team. Painting of Sheriff's Patrol and Court Security, our guys did the painting and we had the carpet hired out. It turned out really nice. They're very happy with the result. We have an example of an electric heater that maintenance installed. Vestibule, we get cold air blasting in there, so this will help fight that. Health Department, obviously we have the boiler project on there. It's gonna be that building and others. We had existing boilers in the health department tuned to get us through this winter because they're gonna be working on the juvenile detention center first because those units are down and cannot be repaired. So we're gonna get that done first. We wanted to tune the boilers in the health department to get through one more season and then they will start on that in the spring. Jail Annex, we're still working on the steps for the top bunks. That is not complete, but it's ongoing. Juvenile detention, as I mentioned, with the boilers, and we have added a classroom area, added data points and power. They're setting up computers in there. Right now they only have about a dozen and they're wanting more points of access for computers and students. And the museum, there's a brass water line that we found inside the concrete that sprung a leak on us. It was quite the project to get fixed, but we were able to get that fixed and get their water turned back on, so the employees are very happy over there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone have any questions about the report?
I just wanna make a comment if it's all right with
Yeah,
the
please.
chair. I was out at the facility, animal control, and you had a lot of work going on there. And I wanted to compliment your team. They have been doing an amazing job. A lot of effort has gone into doing those repairs, and they were busy the day I was there, and it's not an easy environment to work in, and they did a fine job. So I just wanted to acknowledge the efforts that they're making, and just please let them know
I
that
will do
we
that.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Additional
Yeah,
comments?
quick question. You mentioned the smoke test for the sewer, you said there was a cracked sewer pipe that was found?
There was.
Okay, and you're anticipating that's gonna get checked out next week then?
Yes, sir.
Alright,
Yes.
Additional comments or questions? Mr. Fogler, just want to say thank you again very much for all the additional work that you have stepped in to do, not only in being here this evening, but in everything that you've done with the facilities team, continuing forward in Mr. Gaither's absence. It truly is appreciated. Love the team atmosphere that we have here in the county, so thanks for keeping that
Of
going.
course, thank you very much.
All right. With that monthly report wrapping, that brings us on to item number 4B1 and welcoming Mr. Steffa, our Director of Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
Thanks for more than a seat.
Good evening, Mr. Steffa. So with Mr. Steffa coming to the table, let's go ahead and with item B1A, we have an item to be presented for action, and that is our request permission to sell surplus park vehicles and equipment through GovDeals. Might I have a motion to put this one on the floor for conversation? We got a motion from Member Byrne and a second from Member Bell. Mr. Steffa, over to you for any information you'd like to share with us.
We have a lot of surplus items out at the park, couple vehicles and quite a bit of equipment that's been sitting around for quite some time now. A lot of it does not work, but it will still, we're very confident that it will still sell on this site. A lot of people are buying not only vehicles but equipment, not to repair them and have them work, but to strip the parts down, and it's becoming a fairly lucrative business to do that. So we're very confident that these items will sell. We don't know how much they'll sell for. Some of the items, as you can see, are very old, so we don't anticipate getting a ton of money out of them, but it's we're doing a cleaning, and we'd like to get these items off the park property.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steffa. Questions from the committee?
I'm not gonna say recycles.
Oh, that was
Yay recycling. Yay recycling on the floor. Member Beth, or I'm sorry, Member Bell. Fail. Member Bell, did you have a comment or question?
Do you have a goal in mind of what you like to reach for the stuff that's sitting around? Do you have a specific goal?
A monetary goal?
Yeah, a monetary goal that can be reused back into the park and recs?
Well, the money doesn't come back directly to the Parks Department. It goes into the general fund, and it
Okay.
goes into what's called a sale of assets
Okay,
fund.
it's good to know.
Additional questions? I did have one. I was just curious, before going with looking at GovDeals, I know it was mentioned that the transportation department has used GovDeals
Mhm.
before. What was our previous process for surplus assets?
Yes, the county would hold an auction, but it was very sporadic at best. I mean, I'm talking like, I don't know, every 10 years or so. So it's been a while since we've had one. So, my initial call was to Mr. Stokes, Jerry Stokes from the Highway Department, cause he kind of spearheaded the last, county auction we had for surplus equipment and vehicles, and he said, and then that's when he turned me on to this GovDeal, so it just seems like a so much easier process, so, and we can get a lot of stuff that's not used, out of the way.
Yeah, well, if we were formerly holding our own auction, that probably takes up a fair amount of personnel time as well as financial time to get that out there. So this certainly seems like a win if it's at no cost to us
Yeah.
to put our things on there. So
I think Mr. Stokes had another reason to do this, because all the stuff was mostly shoved out to the highway department, so the auction, the people would actually come and look at the stuff out there, but everything was basically taken out to him, so
advantageous to get the other departments looped in as well,
Yeah.
okay. And then a final question, just for clarity on the record. In the request, it had mentioned the interest in purchasing a 2024 vehicle. Just wanting to clarify that that is not, that request isn't formally being lodged, and it's not contingent on being able to sell these things on GovDocs. It's merely just saying aspirationally, we
We're
would like
hoping to
to.
get the
okay.
funding for a new vehicle for 2024.
Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
Alrighty.
Final questions?
Alright, let's go ahead and put this one to a vote. All those in favor of approving item number B1A, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Mr. Stuffa, let's talk about the items to be presented for action, B2A, with your monthly report, sir.
Yeah, just to touch on a few things. We had a really good turnout for the Nature Trail Days on Saturday, September 16th. They already, the Illinois Master Naturalists have they already wanna nail down a date for next year, so, we're gonna have discussions on how to make the event bigger, so maybe this event can grow and turn into something big, so. We'll see, but yeah, I can report on that stuff later. Had some good news today, Hewlin fence is done at the old boat rental, so we're ready for demolition of the old boat rental building, so that's moving forward. I'm waiting to hear back from Litweiler Excavation, so should hear back from them soon. Really the only other thing I would have would be just to let you know the archery portion of the deer management program has started. Just certain areas of the park are closed to general use, but there's still a lot of areas open to general use. So, boat rental, our boat rental will be closing after this weekend for the season. And then our bait shop will be closing the following weekend. Following weekend is our Fall Colors Family Day weekend, and it's kind of our last hurrah for the campers. The campground is completely booked up. We don't have any sites left, so people will decorate we have a trick or treating in the campground, and that's one of the parts of the event, but some of the people will decorate their campsites, so it's really grown into a huge event for us, so, and it's one of the staff's favorite programs too, so hopefully we'll have good weather. We're keeping our fingers crossed, so that's about all I have.
Thank you.
So can the public come out?
Yes,
And
yes,
trick or
absolutely, yes.
And that's on the 14th then?
14th, October 14th, Saturday, October 14th.
What a fun event. I think we can all commit to maybe keeping our fingers crossed for some great weather for that one. Thank you very much for everything that your team did to make the 2023 Nature Trails Day a success. Looking forward to hearing about planning for next year and how we can get the word out there and continue to support. But also great news on Hewlin's finishing up and getting to the next stages.
We want that project done.
I bet. That'll certainly be a big win, especially going into the season next year, being able to use that new bait shop.
Yep.
Additional questions or comments? Thank you so very much for your time
You're
and
welcome.
your service this evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. All right. That carries us along now to item number 4C1A On our items to be presented for action, we're going to Administrator Taylor. We have our request approval of fiscal year 2024 recommended budget for the Facilities Management Department. This includes A1 Juvenile Detention Center Program, A2 Metcom Program, A3 200 West Front Street, that is the Health Department Building Program, A4 the Old Courthouse Program, A5 Law and Justice Center Program, A6 Fairview Building Program, A7 the Animal Control Program, A8 Government Center Program. Is there anyone who would be opposed to taking all of these items together when we put them on the floor? All right, so we'll put them all together on the floor for action. Might I have a motion to discuss? A motion from Member Byrne and a second, please. Second from Member Bell, thank you very much. Administrator Taylor.
Thank you. So I have a short PowerPoint presentation to present, but I would also ask Scott to come back up to the table if there's any tricky questions that I can't answer. So just as a reminder to the committee, the daily responsibilities for facilities management includes custodial and maintenance to all building related equipment, including our electrical, lighting, heating, and air conditioning, our plumbing, fire suppression systems, kitchen equipment, all jail systems, and doors and locks. The grounds maintenance crew takes care of our lawn care, snow removal, cleaning, repairs, and building structures from the roof down to the underground utilities. All of that is under the auspices of this department. And so we have listed there at the bottom all of the facilities that this group maintains and are included in this budget. So as you can see from the pie chart, the majority of this budget is services, which is different than the majority of our other departments. They also have 24% of their budget made up with salaries, 7% with capital assets and projects, and then supplies are 5%. So the overall expenses for all the buildings increased 28% in this year's budget. We have many capital projects and restoration expenditures included in plans for 2024. So this is a highlight of just the major expenses that are coming in this budget for all of the buildings. The majority of the expenses that I'm going to share in this slide and the next slide refer to lines 744, replacement and repair, or lines 800 for the capital improvements if you're looking along in your budget lines. So we intend to upgrade LED lighting in all the buildings at a cost of $311,000 to our 200 West Front Street building, which houses our health department, our CAC, our behavioral health programs, as well as rented spaces. We are intending to continue to pay our elevator loan repayments for the elevators we repaired a few years back. We have a sewage injection pump replacement that is planned, and then we also need to replace the south exterior door in that building. For the old courthouse, we also have a roof loan repayment. We also plan to install an automatic door opener and replace and upgrade switchgear.
Might I ask,
Sure,
is it okay to ask questions throughout the course of the presentation?
absolutely.
Thank you. On the old courthouse, how long are we repaying the roof loan repayment or the roof loan payment? How many years is that enacted for?
It was a 10-year loan.
10. Okay.
I think it's done in 2029.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy Dreyer, for that assist.
And for having it memorized. My goodness, y'all are impressive.
Since we had a pause, I will also mention for JDC, we have an additional $40,000 allocated for ventilation supply fans. And of course, we already spoke about the capitalized assets for the classroom and boiler projects for this year. So then moving on to Law and Justice Center, the upgrade in lighting to the booking and special population area That will be helpful so they can dim the lights when they have people housed in that space that should be in the care of another state agency. We have money allocated to paint the hallways in floors 3 through 5 of the Law and Justice Center. That is the floors that house the courtrooms and the judges' offices. We have money for replacing of flooring in the coroner's autopsy room, installing high-performance water fixtures, magnetic door locks for IT server rooms that will increase our security of that building, and then also to resurface the west parking lot on the west side of the building. For this building, the government center, we have allocated funds to replace air conditioning units for our server rooms. Also, to continue with elevator modernization for our center elevator. To provide upgrades to magnetic door access in this building for some of the departments that have public service facing windows. And then boiler replacements, ductwork cleaning and sealing, and then also funds to conduct an engineering study and upgrade for our plumbing. We are having some plumbing issues in this building. And that is it for major capital and restoration expenditures. If there's any other questions on these budgets, we can review those as needed.
Additional comments or questions? Thank you very much for the breakdown. I do want to say, really appreciate being able to have the slide breakdown. I think it's a great way to be able to synthesize things and take it into bite-sized chunks. So thank you for the efforts that you guys put into preparing this ahead of time.
Thank you.
Seeing no other comments or questions, let's go ahead and vote on C1A, and this is the lumping of all of the request approval of the fiscal year 2024 items for the Facilities Management Department. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And any opposed? Motion passes. Carrying on to item number C.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carrying on to item number C1B. This is our request approval fiscal year 2024 recommended budget for the Parks and Recreation Department budget, including B1 Park Operations Program and B2 Recreational Services Program. I'd like to suggest that we go ahead and take and put these two together. Is anyone opposed to putting items B1 and B2 together on the floor? Alright, then I'll take a motion to put this one on the floor for discussion. Got a motion by member Byrne and a second, please. Second by member Bell. Thank you very much. Administrator Taylor, over to you.
Thank you, Chair Lehman. So, well, actually, I'll just take a second to point out that slide. That is a historical sign. Mike, can you tell us when that sign was put up?
I've been there 33 years and it was before me. The symbol or the logo on the left there is the original logo of the park.
So there, I think that's an interesting logo and an interesting story about how long our park has been in existence and how proud we've been of the park since the very beginning. So the park has a mission to ensure adequate provision for high quality of regional parks and related outdoor recreational activities for all citizens of McLean County in the most cost-efficient manner possible. So looking at the revenues for the park, you can see we have several revenue sources for that. I'm not going to read each of those numbers, but this consists of our boat registration, beach receipts, food concession revenue, our shelter reservation fees, campground fees, and boat concession revenues. And you can see the breakdown there. The revenues increased by 2% from last fiscal year. The only revenue to decrease was the beach receipts, and we had some issues with the beach this year that we hope to get corrected for next year. So then expenses, our expenses overall increased by 29%. You can see the breakdown there. Salaries make up 53% of the budget. Next would be a tie between capital assets and services, and then supplies come in at 11%. This budget includes the purchase of 2 paddle boats and 2 rowboats, new playground equipment for each, and also new equipment, including a mower and a skid steer. We did have increases to salaries from our compensation study recommendations. And I think the non-contractual services line increased slightly. That is the online reservation service for our camping. And that's it for these budgets.
Thank you very much. Comments or questions?
How many years since it's been that the playground equipment and the paddle boat area's been revamped?
You mean the equipment itself?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know a couple of the paddle boats and some of the rowboats that we are replacing are from 1995. So they're quite old. The playground equipment that we're replacing, I believe that was put in right around 2000. I don't have an exact year on that, but I'm pretty sure it was 2000. So it's pretty old.
So basically, every 30 years, we're changing equipment out?
Some, yes.
Okay. Alright. Should have been done a long time ago, that's what I'm saying. It was overdue.
Mhm.
I went out on the tour with you guys and seen how things were. When I first ran, I was on the board and I was saddened because it's not the place it was when I was a kid going there. So I hope we can get people back out there.
Please help me, our numbers have continued to be very high, correct? I mean,
Yeah,
we're things may not be ideal, but it's not preventing people from enjoying the park, is that,
That's correct.
okay?
Yeah, we've particularly seen a higher usage in the campground during the weekdays. That was always our, the weekends are always packed. That's not ever been a problem. It was our weekday usage and I don't know, it was even before COVID started, but even after COVID, we saw even a bigger increase in not only the usage of the campground, but the overall usage of the park, especially like the trails. We saw a big usage, increase in the usage.
Well, I'd like to say I am a camper. I just retired from camping after 40 years, and I've been to a lot of parks with my RV. And other states are doing things better than we are doing. Interreactive, where you can just walk on logs or something that the kids can use their upper body strength or lower body strength. Docks that are well lit that can be used at night. So I'm basically saying we need to up our game a little bit if we're gonna be doing more
Sure.
with boating and swimming out there. More choices so they don't go to other communities.
Mhm.
Thank you.
It certainly looks like with our budget this year that we are trying to allocate money in some of the right directions to be able to continually put these forward. So with the budget as a whole with the county, it's great to see that we're finally investing in some things that we can spruce up along the way. So excited for what the park is putting forward and to be able to continue to support it. Administrator Taylor.
Yes, I would concur with that sentiment and just point out that we had many lean years where we had deferred maintenance and projects were put off. And it is nice to see that we are able to enjoy a year where we can get to some of those projects. And I know Mike and his team are very excited to improve or enhance any of the services or equipment that we have out there any chance we get.
Final comments or questions? All right, let's go ahead and put C1B, B1 and B2 to a vote. All those in favor of passing the request approval of fiscal 2024 budget of Parks and Rec, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and the motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Stefan.
Thank you.
And that brings us to item C1C, the request approval for the capital improvement plan. Might I have a motion to put this one on the floor for discussion? Motion from Member Byrne, might we have a second? Second from Member Bell, thank you very much. And Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Chair Bowman. So the capital improvement plan is a 5-year plan. The only budgetary items that are set in stone are the first year of the 5-year plan, the FY24 projects, because those go through your budgeting process and are approved as part of the fiscal year 2024 cycle. So any of the years that come after that are in plan only, and so they are subject to change as priorities change, but we feel like we have put together a solid plan for your review. The FY24 CIP includes $3,970,980 in projects. And this does not include the projects that are being funded through the American Rescue Plan Act dollars. Those are approved at the executive committee. Also, this does not include, that dollar amount does not include the highway department projects that are included in the CIP, because those dollar amounts are approved at the transportation committee and have already been approved as of the beginning of this week. The 5-year plan in total for all 5 years includes funds for $82,943,429 invested back into our community for all of the buildings, the park, the other responsibilities that we have to maintain all the services that we provide to the county. So in looking at our capital improvement plan, you all received the booklet that has a summary with it. But I'd just like to highlight that the museum that we call the Old Courthouse here has $50,000 in funds that are being allocated for FY 2024. That's the LED lighting upgrades, the south door automatic door opener, and the switchboard project. We have $2,192,500 in the government center. We talked about all of those. The 200 West Front Street has $725,000, juvenile detention $75,000. The Law and Justice Center, $801. Nursing home has $47,000, and Parks and Rec has $80,000. I can share any details of those numbers if you have questions. And that is the end of my presentation.
Comments or questions on our CIP?
I just would like to compliment, this is a very well comprehensive and understandable document.
Thank you.
And just whoever helped with that, we need to commend the efforts that were made, because it's a very, very good document, so thank you.
That was a group effort with Kathy Dreyer and Tony Grant, both helping me to complete. As well as,
Come on, give me a guy some
There we go.
Come on.
as well as facilities, of course, facilities.
Yeah, but it was just, you look at it and you can see exactly what is planned this year by quarter. It's very good, so thank you.
And in the way that it's laid out, it's easy for the public to understand as well.
Absolutely.
Should they have questions, and for us to be able to share with constituents. I'd like to also add how exciting it is to see the Fairview building getting a little bit of love going forward, and with our continued plans to be able to revitalize that property and to kind of usher it back into consistent use in the county. That's great.
Agreed,
Um,
agreed, I love that building.
Uh,
A lot of history.
It
Yeah,
is. It's a
exactly,
beautiful
right?
building.
Only question that I had in looking at how the spatial study upgrades are laid out, or loosely anticipated for 2024 and 2025. The total anticipated cost there is $475,000, where in last year's CIP we were roughly looking at $685,000. Just curious, in looking or in kind of forecasting out, roughly $200,000 less than what we forecasted last year. Just curious if there's any information or any backstory or.
Absolutely. So in this year's budget, we have identified some of the projects that would be included in the spatial study, but we identified early on things like security cameras, magnetic doors, some changing of the entrances in some of our first floor offices that could be accomplished. They were identified in the walkthrough of the spatial study, and there were comments made by Charnett and Associates of areas where they saw improvement in the draft documents. And so we said, why wait? Those are some low-hanging fruit that we feel like we can address in 2024 ahead of any formal project with the city to change major spaces as a result of the spatial study. So that's why.
Fantastic news. Love low hanging fruit and the ability to continue to invest in our buildings and fast track a few things. That's great. All right. Final comments, questions? Yeah, Member Bell.
Well, I know I don't have the authority to do this, but maybe they could get some time off tomorrow. Everybody looks like they're so tired. You guys have really pulled it in together, so.
I'll see what I can do,
Okay,
Bev.
I don't have any power to do that.
I'll see what I can do. I'll let the staff maybe go a little bit early.
That's a phenomenal note. All right, so
Need a vote?
without final questions, C1C, requesting approval of the capital improvement plan. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you very much. Administrator Taylor, any items to be presented for information this evening?
Yes, very quickly, I know these budget sessions are long meetings, but I would like to point out that the draft of the spatial study has been reviewed by the county and is now in the hands of the city. They are reviewing that document, and I anticipate having a final document to present to this committee very soon. If not next month, let's just plan for next month. And then I also wanted to let you know that Kyle Mueller in administration's office has been working on a utilities dashboard. And so I'm a big fan of dashboards to use graphics to identify trends. And so the efforts that she's been making to take just the rows and rows and rows of data and put that into something that you can visualize will be helpful not only for planning, it will also help us see at a glance if some of the efforts that we're making in utility
Efficiency projects.
efficiencies, that's the word I'm looking for. If efforts in efficiencies are really bringing the bang for the buck that we are anticipating, but also just to show people where we're at. So I was very pleased to see a draft of that document, and we'll be bringing that in at future meetings for you to enjoy as well.
Fantastic. It'll be great to see. Definite thanks to Kyle for
Yeah.
those efforts thus far. All right. Other business and communications. Next meeting is November 9th, 2023, 5 p.m. Administrator Taylor, are we anticipating being in the big room for that one?
We will be in
Fabulous.
the regular room, and you will all be able to fit behind the dais for your committee meetings.
Look at that.
So it'll be a different viewpoint for the next meeting. They are doing the punch list this week, and we anticipate that room will be available for our full board meeting next Thursday.
Excellent. Any other business or communications from the committee? All right. Chair Metzger, thank you for joining us this evening. So we had a quorum. Member Byrne, Member Bell, thank you very much for your participation, and thank you for your dedication and commitment to the county. Have a fabulous rest of your day. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Val.